because he kind of took us through the start and finish. But for those on the podcast and the YouTube show, Jeff, take us through the events at Rogers Arena today.
Yeah, I think to do that, guys, you have to back it up a couple of days. The fact that Thatcher Demko wasn't available to the media after game one of this series, and that certainly raised some eyebrows. He was requested. It was the starting goaltender, the winning goaltender. Everybody wanted his reaction. He wasn't made available because he was in treatment. Fair enough. He's coming off an injury that kept him out for 6 weeks. But when it was requested on Monday after an optional skate, and again, he wasn't on the ice, at least among the group that was on the ice for the optional, we heard from Rick Tocchet that, yes, he did skate, clearly was trying to test something. Again, he was asked for and wasn't granted the media access. And so right then and there, you thought, okay, at the very least, that's strange. But it's not red flag territory. But I can tell you, when I walked into Rogers Arena this morning, and there were two goaltenders on the ice, and they were Casey DeSmith and Artur Silovs, and Ian Clark, who is religious in his starter's routine and sets up a whole bunch of pucks in the high slot and just works from there. And it was Casey DeSmith that was on the receiving end of those shots. Right then and there, you thought, hang on a sec, something is way off here. And the gate at the bench was still open, and that's always a tell, because morning skate schedules were 10:30. So it was 10:15, 10:20, gets to be 10:25. Players are trickling out, pretty well attended, optional. And then at 10:30, when the gate closed, bingo, no Thatcher Demko. We've got problems. We've got a story on our hands. And so PR staff led us into the Canucks locker room, talked to the players. At that point, there had been no confirmation. We hadn't had an opportunity to talk to Rick Tocchet yet. And so all the players are put in that position where I'm sure they know, but they're not going to be the ones that confirm for the media. So everybody talks, in generalities, hypotheticals, say, if he can't go, we've got confidence in Casey DeSmith. That seemed to be the standard answer. And then at that point, as we were leaving the Canucks locker room to head back to the podium room, the press conference room, that's when Frank's tweet went out, and boom, at that point, I think, that was the confirmation. And so moments later, Rick Tocchet stepped to the podium, answered the questions, and confirmed. And look, absolutely a huge blow to the hockey club, but also to this marketplace. You guys talked about it. I mean, the good vibes coming out of Sunday night, and now all of a sudden there's this black cloud that's hanging over Rogers Arena. Can the Canucks still beat the Predators? Of course they can. Can Casey DeSmith get the job done? No doubt. Point to the game that you just mentioned in Edmonton the other night. But you know what? A week before that, he lost the opportunity to Artur Silovs because they didn't have confidence. So, we're 10 days removed from a pretty solid backup performance, or performance from the backup as the starter, but wind it back 2 weeks, and he lost his net briefly to the third stringer in this organization. So who knows what to expect from Casey DeSmith. I do think that it just heightens the awareness of the group in front to continue to tighten up, lock down. What were the keys to getting the win in Edmonton? They got him a first period lead. They built on it. McDavid didn't play, and yes, he was tested early on an Edmonton power play and did his part as well. But, that would go miles to helping Casey DeSmith ease his way into the series if the team could get a lead for him and continue to build on it. I think the first 5 minutes are going to be fascinating. If you're the Preds, you throw everything you've got at Casey DeSmith. You make him make a bunch of saves here. And if he does, then that he's up to the challenge, at least in the short term here. If it doesn't go his way, all of that energy that we all saw and witnessed and felt on Sunday night, that's going to turn to angst in a real hurry at Rogers Arena. And we felt that nervous energy in the building before. So, if you got tickets, get there for puck drop, because I think those first 5 minutes are going to be absolutely fascinating to sort of see how this story unfolds.
Are there any tells that you're going to be looking for watching DeSmith play in terms of little details that you're able to see when he's playing well versus when he's not playing well? I'm curious what you're looking to see from DeSmith in the first period to see whether he's on or not.
I think for me, it's rebound control, and I'm certainly no goaltender expert, but we have seen both sides of that coin with Casey DeSmith this year. The game in Edmonton seemed to be swallowing everything up. There wasn't a lot of loose change lying around, but I go back to some of those games against Western Conference opponents, the Los Angeles game, Dallas at home. There were pucks that were there in the blue paint. He would make the initial save, but play would continue. I think it shows when a goaltender is on and he's dialed and he's into it, that he's making those saves and not leaving second chance opportunities. So again, I expect that the guys in front of him, there's going to be a heightened awareness. They recognize the situation here. I still think the Canucks have plenty to get past the Nashville Predators with Casey DeSmith in goal, but there are reports out now that, it's not looking great for Demko. The team's not going to confirm that, but the last one, he left under his own power against Winnipeg, and we didn't see him again for 6 weeks. So, the fact that he finished on Sunday night, I don't think you can read an awful lot into that in terms of the severity or the nature of this injury. And look, guys, we have seen Thatcher Demko, an all-star this year, going to get a ton of Vezina votes. When he's on, he is clearly one of the best goaltenders in the National Hockey League, but undeniably.
Oh, I think we lost Jeff. We lost Jeff there. But Hardman, what he was saying there, it's undeniable. I keep coming back to this idea that Casey DeSmith is not going to be as big of a drop off as, and again, Jeff wasn't saying this, but the comments right now are just people declaring this series is over. People saying, there was one here that I really wanted to read. Yeah, okay, this one from Captain Canuck, and this is the point I was trying to make earlier. This is from Captain Canuck. Demko is done for the year, and so are we. No way he misses the whole first round without it being serious. That was my point, was that we don't know that Thatcher Demko's out for the entire first round. We don't know that just yet. We just simply don't.
I'm not holding my breath. That's all I'm gonna say. Especially because even if he does come back, then there's still gonna be the question mark of, are you rushing him back? How is he gonna pick up right where he left off? Because it's not always easy to mid-series go from you're missing a bunch of games to now you're thrust back into action. And of course, Demko's done it before. We know that he's typically been able to look sharp after coming back from injury, but there's always still that level of uncertainty. So it's definitely a blow for this series.
Well, in the chat,
guys, if am I back?
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. Yeah,
I think the other thing too is now that if he does get the green light at some point, how much trust do you really have that he's going to be able to stay healthy? And this is a guy who, his season ended 2 years ago with injury. Last year suffered an injury that kept him out 3 months. This time now it's been 6 weeks. He gets back for 3, and now he's out again. And if he does heal quickly, and we know how hard he worked. I mean, he talked about 2-a-days getting in there. He thanked the medical staff for putting in the hours that he was willing to put in to get him back and ready for that Calgary game not that long ago. But I don't know about you, but if I see him in a Canuck uniform again in these playoffs, in the back of my mind at the very least, I'm going to be thinking, for how long? And I was saying before I lost my microphone there that, just undeniably, this is part of the Thatcher Demko story now. And you think about the movements that it requires to play the position at the highest level. It's surprising that more guys' bodies don't break down, but injuries are part of the Thatcher Demko story. It's the way it goes now. And it's unfortunate for him because, again, I love watching him play when he's at the highest heights of his game. He is as good as anybody in the National Hockey League, but man, you hope that his body isn't betraying him here to the point that it's going to be a struggle for him to stay at that level for, a prolonged period of time, just because injuries continue to creep in and plague him and his ability to perform.
Jeff, the chat is saying I'm in the denial phase and that I'm trying to cope right now. So let's move away from Thatcher Demko and Casey DeSmith. This is the first chance we've had to talk to you since the Canucks Game 1 victory. What did you like about that performance, and what adjustments do you think Nashville is going to be trying to make in Game 2?
Yeah, I think Nashville can feel pretty good about the way they played for 45 or 50 minutes, 2-1 lead into the third period. Obviously, there was a span there when Lindholm scored in the second. I thought the Canucks were going to take the game over. They had a bunch of chances, didn't convert, and then the Canucks ran into some penalty problems. But from a Canucks perspective, look, in the National Hockey League, when you trail going into the third period, the numbers are not in your favor. And so for the Canucks to overcome a third period deficit, and the first goal matters an awful lot. The Predators had an incredible record this year when they score first, just like the Canucks. And so, the Canucks were patient, didn't give up. The fans were behind them, obviously. And to spin the game the way they did in a 12-second span there was incredible. The work of Dakota Joshua and his line mates was terrific, and really looking forward. I mean, Joshua looks like a guy that is built for playoff hockey, and based on his opening night performance, just serve up more, want to see more. So need more from the top end guys. Like JT and his line carried play, but you didn't want that to be at the end of the night that, okay, the underlying numbers are good, but what does it mean? You need to see some sort of tangible takeaway. And obviously, this market continues to watch and wait for Elias Paterson to do something. And just hasn't done an awful lot of that for too long now. Didn't seem interested in talking about his personal struggles when he met the media earlier today. He knows that he's got to be better. He knows what he means to this hockey club. And the depth of the Canucks, certainly down the middle, should impact this series regardless of who's in goal. So, there was a lot to like in the Canucks effort. Obviously, the atmosphere and the environment was incredible. They did feed off that. It'll be that way. But now I think both teams have a baseline for some of the guys to talk about getting emotional and, being surprised at how loud. Like, now they know, and I think the focus is more on the game at hand. But if you're the Predators, I think you have to be pretty...
We lost Jeff again. That's not good. Someone in the chat said that Jeff caught the Demko injury as well. His mic caught the Demko injury, and then it's not letting him talk to us. It's weird. It's weird why this is happening, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but
we've got you back.
I'll call the microphone repairman when I'm done here. Make sure that everything's working the way that it has to.
So adjustments for the Predators, obviously, is something we're going to be keeping an eye on tonight. Harm?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about special teams. What's your confidence level after watching, PK, they allow an early one, but recover nicely through the final 2 kills in the second period, and then a key one in the third period. And then what did you think of the power play? Only 2 opportunities, of course, but what did you make of Vancouver special teams, and what's your confidence level heading into game 2?
Yeah, I didn't like the first power play. Lafferty draws the systems penalty early. What an opportunity for the Canucks to sort of make a statement, in the first 10 minutes of the hockey game, and they frittered it away 1 shot on goal. I thought the second power play moved puck better, but still not many shots and ultimately nothing to show for it. On the penalty kill, and I think this kind of flew under the radar a little bit with all the other storylines, Teddy Bluger took the first penalty of the night for the Vancouver Canucks. He's such a huge part of their penalty kill. He's in the box. All of a sudden, it's Pia Suter and Phil DiGiuseppe that are out there as the penalty killing forwards when they get scored on. Elias Lindholm logged a ton of penalty killing minutes. And once the Canucks gave up that first one, they went away from DiGiuseppe. He didn't play an awful lot in that hockey game. And so when Lindholm's out there, you feel a lot more confident about the penalty kill, face-offs, and just all the the reads and the reaction from Lindholm and the way that he goes, and they had Bluger available to them. So yeah, the penalty kill got better, and Tocchet pointed to that yes, they gave up one on their first penalty kill of the night, but the 3 subsequent ones that they killed when the Predators had a 2-1 lead and a chance to extend that lead, penalty kill actually, even though it 1 for 4 and you say 75%, that's not where it needs to be. But sometimes it's situational, and I thought, okay, yeah, they got torched on the first one, but it actually looked really solid and gave this team a lift as it went forward here. So I think I've got some confidence in the penalty kill to continue to deliver, depending on who's in the penalty box. But that power play, it just feast or famine. We've seen it. We saw it late in the season where it started to convert and look good again. And then it went right back sort of into the gutter on night number 1. So we'll see where it goes from there. They know they've got to be better. Connor Garland found himself in the bumper an awful lot the other night. Everybody, the Predators know that he's not a shooting threat there. So I'm still not convinced that he is the answer with the other 4 guys, but certainly doesn't appear that they're going to make any changes at this juncture of this series. Maybe as the series unfolds, maybe they throw some different looks in there, but they probably come back with that 5-man set, and we'll see if they can be better in game 2 than they were in game number 1.
Jeff, great stuff as always. We'll talk to you after the game on Rinkwide Vancouver. I'll be in the live chat. I'll be in the live chat on Rinkwide Vancouver. Who's co-hosting with you tonight?
I got our Gafar once again. So yeah, looking forward to it. We had a ton of fun on Sunday, got, right on after the game, and obviously people were riding high, and let's see what game number 2 serves up, but obviously no shortage of storylines regardless of the outcome at the rink. So we'll be breaking it all down. We'll be there post game, and hopefully viewers and listeners will be as well.
Jeff, good stuff. Thanks so much for joining us. Canucks Conversation is live Monday through Friday, every weekday at 2 p.m. over on the CanucksArmy YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and interact in the YouTube live chat every day with us, folks.